Hello, ho, ho there. Merry Christmas, one and all. How are you doing, everybody, ladies and gentlemen? So I guess this will be my, I can't see me doing another live stream actually before the end of the year. So this is our Christmas live stream. I just ran up to my loft to get this actually. We started off backstage. I saw Chris wearing his. So I already had a Christmas sweater on, so that was all right. Miko has his sweater. Where's yours, Tim? What are you doing, mate? Where's your Christmas festivity, mate?
Wasn't told about the fancy dress, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I should have said something about that, but still, we're all here now, and we're going to do our live stream.
We have to tell you how calendars work, Tim. Come on, you know what day it was.
Yeah, good answer. All right.
Don't celebrate it. So, no, I'm just kidding.
Right. We've got a lot of people in the chat already. This is a really exciting live stream, fellas. Been looking forward to this. We're going to be talking about our TVC rarities and gems. So not just stuff that's rare, stuff that's like, you know, nice pieces. Having a little chat with Mr. Miko just before the stream about Canadians.
Tim has some thoughts about Canadians, but we'll save it for that.
What?
I'm sorry, Chris does. Sorry. Canadian cards.
Well, I can't wait I'm here to learn, fellas. I ain't no expert in all this. You guys are the experts. That's why I've got you on. You know what I mean? But I just see, Canadians are just, as far as I'm concerned, they're not very common, are they, Tim, for us, I'd say, being this side of the water. I see.
Yeah. I know you like them. I'm not, that sort of thing I'm not overly fussed about. Like,
you know what? The card back I'm showing later, you hate it. I know you don't like it because we've already discussed.
I've never really liked the multi-language name pill, in general. Like, I've always tried to source the one that isn't multi-language, whereas I know you like to have one of each. You know?
Oh, yeah. Oh, man, no, I hated it in 2.0. I thought, what are they doing that for that first Stormtrooper when they had the multi-language? Anyway, this is stuff we will get into later. Let's have a quick look at the chat. We've got Des T in the house. Universal Toy Collector Ray Dunkley is always there, man, for live streams. Scott Mechanical. I'm just checking none of these are Amanda Hugging Kit. Hey guys, I'm looking for Amanda Hugging Kit. Why can't I find Amanda Hugging Kit? Maybe your standards are too high. So Bradley Harvey. We've got Martin Long, I think, unless it's his. What are they, cousins, Tim, or brothers? What's the deal there? I've forgotten.
I think they're cousins, yeah.
I've got Matthew Allen. William Rodriguez. Sakik Score.
Speaking of Canadian.
Oh, wow. Speaking of Canadian, look at that. We got a new member. How about that?
Reno
Raz, 22. Thank you very much. Pico B1, Rogue Killer, Mark Simon, Carl Wilson. Good man. Royston 190. Brett on Fett. What's all this then? Oh man, TVC. I've got the elite of the TVC community here. These three gentlemen are the pop stars, I'd say, man, of this little community. And we've got loads of other people here. So should we get on with the show, fellas? Otherwise, it's just like reading loads of names. Hello there, Jason Conway, Dr. Jones, and Dr. Wizzy Wizard. Gareth Skeet Retreat, Tomb, Lara V, and that's it. Brilliant. So Merry Christmas, fellas, and thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, great stuff. So as I said, the topic is looking at TVC rarities. This is all started by Chris from Bantha Skull, who highlighted something that he thought would be worth getting hold of. Maybe I should open things up with this. Why not?
You should, absolutely.
Why not?
And it's a good thing John's here because he's part of the story.
Cool.
Thank you. I will say, as you bring this up, when I got back into collecting TVC as a carded collection, and I think 2016-ish, this article was one that I dug up to start collecting the more rare and limited figures, and started the pestering of me contacting Chris privately and building our friendship. So this means a lot to me, and yeah, please bring it up. So,
Well, I mean, going back in history, like, you know, as far as back as I remember collecting TVC, there were certain things that were maybe considered rare or just expensive. Like, for example, these two ladies, I thought I'd show now because they have, you know, just plummeted in the second-hand market now. This used to be the most expensive figure. Let me just see if I can remember how to solo layout. Is that right? There you go. I mean, that for me was the most expensive figure I ever got back when, and it was £50. Now I'd struggle to sell it. It'd be worth £50 in the UK, maybe. But that's Shea Vizsla, and then the other one, of course, was O.O.K. Also cost me £80. And there's people still trying to sell her punched, which they'll have no chance because, as you know, the reissue is punched. So why would anybody in their right mind buy issue number 1 punched when they could probably find the unpunched one now for, I don't know, maybe she might have slightly more value. But my point is, back then, certain cards were highly sought after. The Royal Guard was another one. And, you know, Cody's always been up there. But then, let me just see if I can get off this view. How am I doing this? There you go.
Sorry, are you bringing up his article or? Sorry.
No, I could do. I'll find it. I'll go.
Sorry. I thought you said you were going to bring up Chris's article. Chris, what was that article? These are something like these are rare and you probably don't care or something.
These are rare and you something like they're rare and you probably don't care, and that's kind of the point of this. That's why, you know, when I announced this on Bantha Skull stream, I said we're going to get into the weeds because your average collector is not going to compare about some of these eccentricities or these little, you know, idiosyncratic minute details about the vintage collection. But for rare few, they do care. And the article that I wrote about, they're rare and they don't care, was about the 4 unpunched cards from waves 1 and 2, which you know, they weren't traditionally carried forward. So it was the Luke Bespin, Commander Cody, much to your chagrin, Nick, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and the Magna Guard. They, you know, pretty scarce right there. Yeah, pretty scarce to find them unpunched. And that's where it started. But at the time, it was, you know, people didn't care. In fact, when I wrote that article, I had to source some of them, and I was buying them for about $20 a piece. The ones that I was missing at the time. I'll find it and send it to you, Nick.
That'd be awesome.
I actually sent it to you in our. If you go back and message
it. on the private chat.
Yes.
Yeah, great. Because that was the thing. It was all like, you know, certain things get hyped and ramped up, like Ahsoka and the like. But then there are the genuine rare pieces. And then, as we all know, the price of Cody ballooned. And just to let you know, what value would you give that Magna Guard you just mentioned in the list there? Because one sold here in the UK at auction. I was watching it. I should have put a higher bid in. £155, I think. I'll just double check that on my ended items. But yeah, it had more people on it than I realized. I do have one, but my version is oh, sorry, Miko, let me put you big. My one has that horrible crease that you get on the certain Canadian cards. I think it's a factory thing, isn't it? Let's get that nice and big. There you go. Brilliant. Yours looks minty fresh.
I only pulled these 2 out, but I do have the Luke as well. What were some of the other ones, Chris? I mean, I know there's Cody. I sold my Cody during COVID.
The Luke Bespin, and technically I wrote about the 4 because I was really writing about the figure. But there's 2 other variations, one of which I have to show here. There is the regular clone trooper, right? That came in that. So what it was, where these came from, just to wind the clock back a little bit.
Yeah,
we had wave 1, obviously in 2010. We had wave 2, which was the Revenge of the Sith wave. Then we had wave 3, which was the Return of the Jedi wave. That was kind of hitting for the holidays here in the States, 2010. And they couldn't keep up with demand at the time. So they did this remix wave it was a remix of waves 1 and 2 that they then shipped after wave 3. And in those remix waves, you could get unpunched cards of the ones that weren't carried forward to any other cases that but only came punched in their original case. So in that little tiny remix wave, you got those 4. But
Anakin was in there too. Anakin.
Yes, it was you know, you can get the was that VC-13, right?
Yeah.
You can get VC-13 on the Darth Vader unpunched pretty easily. but to get it with the Anakin Skywalker and unpunched name pill is. I actually don't even have that one in my collection. Didn't you have that at one time, John?
I
We'll
had it.
find
And I
out.
was sorry. I had it. I wasn't happy with its condition. It wasn't like super mint, so I sold that with my Cody. And I know I've talked about this before, but peak COVID, I sold my Cody for $1,200.
That's nuts. I swear I saw one go for $350 the other week.
Wow. And it I thought it would get graded a 9 from AFA, and it got a 8.5. I felt bad for the individual, but I mean that's still right. An 85 is still a solid grade.
So there you go. There, just go back onto Magna Guard. That was a UK market there, and Hasbro. There you go. 157, 17 bids auction there,
and that was mint and everything.
That was mint unpunched Magna Guard. I didn't realize that was one of the, the team, the Cody unpunched team.
That's a really good price. It's pretty consistently. I think Action Figure Graders covered it a couple times recently. I want to say it's hovering around $300 in the United States.
Well, the one I bought was in 2020, that one, and I got it, as I say, it has that famous crease that a lot of Canadian cards have. And do you know why they have them, fellas? Either three of you know.
Is that on the back where the bubble is pressed on, or
not
the blister?
No, on the front of the card. My first ever Slave Leia had this. It was I had a Revenge Canadian Slave Leia with it's I don't want to give anything away that I have here.
It's on the hanger tab, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, below it or above it?
I'll start then. This is something that you mentioned. So I have the unpunched Luke Bespin here, and I got this for £200 in lockdown 2020. I think it was 21 maybe. And sorry, I'm not in HD or anything like that, but it's in really good condition. I bought this off the same guy who, speaking of that Anakin, he said he bought one of them for £30, which is a mad. You can get that on eBay. You can get bargains, but he's also the guy who sold me the SDCC set that was, John, Miko. It came from Daniel Logan. Not necessarily owned by him, but it came from him, but whatever. But still,
right.
That's nice to know.
I remember when you were buying that one, Nick, you were messaging me and I said, if you don't buy it, I will. And you want to buy
it.
Which one? The Revenge of the Jedi set?
The Luke. Yeah.
And this brings me back to at the time I started to collect a carded collection of TVC, you could buy all sorts of lots on eBay, and sometimes, and Chris, we've talked about this several times, where people almost didn't know what they had.
Yeah.
And you would just grab a lot, you would cherry pick the ones out of it you needed, and then you would sell them all, sell the ones you didn't want. And even looking back at it, some of the ones I sold off that I didn't keep, I'm like, man, I wish I kept some of those. Because Nick, as you're collecting kind of every major version of some of these figures, right, where you have the punch or the offerless Canadian, whatever. But man, it was fun. I grabbed a couple Luke's unpunched for next to nothing, and because people didn't really realize what they have, and now everyone knows what they have.
It's Chris's fault, right? The article he makes about these things.
It is Chris's fault, and I'm sure my wife is thrilled that.
There'll be a lot of people who are not familiar or not heard my Cody story, so I'll have to tell you that now. In 2019, there was an unpunched Cody on eBay, sat there for days for £50, and I didn't pull the trigger, even though I loved the look of it. But back then, a Cody was cheaper than an Emperor's Royal Guard, so I didn't want to buy it. I tried to haggle with the guy. I was trying to get the postage to be taken off. What a stupid. Anyway, so being a tight ass as I was being, I lost it. And the guy was telling me no. He said, I'm not going to knock the price down. You either want it or you don't. And then the next thing I know, 2020, 2021 happens, and then Cody's going for nearly $800 or 1,000, was it? Something stupid. Crazy. So I've learned my lesson there. Never, ever dither when you want something, go get it. And then the other story is I have actually seen one of these before. I saw it on eBay, and I think it went for £30, and I didn't really do maximum bidding back then. I just did the next one up as opposed to boom, putting in a massive thing to see everyone else off. And I didn't win that. And that was a shame. It went for nothing, man. So that cost me £200. And Tim, yes, it was kind of you that kind of encouraged me to get this. Or you said
I think we both saw it, didn't I? And I remember you saying, "Oh, I think I just said like two. I think was it 200, wasn't it? I think I just said, for that you've got to get it." Yeah.
But I did, but it made me sick still because, I saw it go for nothing on eBay but I did it, What would you value that, fellas, now, that best bin Luke? Prices have come down and everything.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Like, it's probably been up here somewhere, but now at the moment, like literally everything's come down, hasn't it? Because we've either lost some collectors from the hobby, or people are cashing when prices are high. People cash in, which then brings the market down because more of it's out there. So it's difficult to say, really.
Yeah, we should have got Miko on.
What's that?
We should have got. I'm so sorry. We have Miko on. You know what I was going to say, don't you, Tim?
AFG. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Ruler.
Last time we did this, it was with Rula. It was like all over the place. He was all over the place. We don't need him today. Sorry, John.
He was getting really triggered, wasn't he, by your
No, he was just like all over the place. He was like, I think we lost him at one point. He like disappeared. Like.
So I'm hoping this is the format for tonight. Anyway, we've been having a chat randomly, but I was hoping that we would just go round the horn, each of us show an item, and then move on, have a little chat about it, little story behind it, what we like about the figure, where we got it, circumstances. Nice bit of show and tell. So I showed my best bin, Luke. Where should we go next? Who would like to go next?
Chris
Bantha Skull, you're up.
So this is kind of, Nick, this is kind of how we started talking about that other figure. You found this one, and it's obviously special in its own right. The Vintage Collection Slave Leia is special in its own right, but this is the SDCC Death Star one. And it's important for the discussion later on. What makes this one, you can easily identify it as the SDCC, is that it's offerless. Doesn't have the offer there, as I touch Carrie Fisher's midriff. Doesn't have the offer there. But as we know, and I'll show a little bit later, those stickers could be peeled off. But when they're peeled off, they leave the telltale piece of paper, the redemption slip, in the bottom of the bubble. So when you see one of these, one of the revenge cards, that's both offerless and doesn't have the slip of paper in there, you know that it's from the SDCC Death Star. And those are pretty, obviously as rare as the mini cards. And if you're into collecting, all the versions of a card, it's an important one to have. And I'm glad we have this live stream because I've been meaning to get this graded, and I had it in storage and it forced me to dig it out. So now this will be going off to AFA next week.
Nice. Really nice. More from Slave Leia later on. I think I've got something else to give that one a run for its money, man. Maybe. I don't know. We can discuss this. It's good. We can have a debate on what we think is the rarest and why. Let's go down to John Miko. What you got, man? What were you just showing us there, man? I couldn't tell.
It's the same figure.
Same one.
I brought her up too. I'll just say, for me, I love all the variations. I love the offer stickers, but for me, my favorite cards are the ones with no offer sticker and no paper in the blister. Just kind of like a nice
and unpunched.
And unpunched. Yeah. It's just kind of like a virgin card, if you will, with nothing taking away from the figure and the card. I'm gonna show this one, Tim, because I gotta show this every time.
That's me. Hang on.
You could.
Did you just fire John?
I just kicked him out. Sorry, Miko.
So I have
look at that
Snaggle Fett here.
Amazing.
The only reason I have this figure is because Chris didn't want it. So one of Chris's good friends there in the community, Randy, got this through Hasbro Pulse in his Fett order, and he didn't want it. So I ended up trading him a few Kenner Kenner, Ewoks, and I forget some
Admiral
cast.
Akbar, which you got from me.
That's right. I was like, Cat, if you don't want it, can I have it? And do you mind if I trade a couple of the Kenner figures you sold me? Anyways, I got this graded through Kaz. It came back a 90. It got a 91.9. So shout out to Randy and Chris for letting me have this.
Yeah,
and,
you're talking my language, John, when you're showing things like that, man.
Yeah, bro. Yeah,
I didn't want it because it's the yellow bubble. If it was orange, if Tim didn't screw us all,
Tim's fault,
and have it changed to yellow.
Yeah, and this is the only one I've seen of this. Like, I haven't seen another Snaggletooth on the FET card.
I'm really good at this, aren't I, man? I'm doing so well.
You don't have to keep zooming in. You know,
but on the I think on eBay at the moment it's the opposite way one of that, isn't there? And you can get the FET on the. So you need that, but it's up for like he wants like $7.5 grand for it or something, doesn't he?
Right now, wow.
And someone in my area found one of those at a Walmart. And I was just like, oh, and he didn't want to sell it. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to push the guy, but it might even be that one, I forget. But there was a few of that one. I feel like the FET on the Snaggletooth card. I would love to have that one. So there you go.
Very nice. Just a quick shout. Sorry, Tim, before we go over to you, Darth Rock became a YouTube member, and I nearly missed this. Darth Wizzy has left a little sticker, super sticker, whatever you call them. Thank you, Wizzy. Nicholas, good man. Okay. All right, Tim, what you got, man?
So we're just talking before we came on, went live in, in the green room or whatever. And like, when we're talking about the rarities of TVC, obviously you've got like unpunched this, unpunched that. And there's of course things like, Jar Jar in Carbonite, which is just an expensive figure, but I'm not too sure how rare they are necessarily. But there's, I guess compared to like a figure that you can just get in a case, then yeah, they are, and they do command a bit of money. So I do have those sorts of things in my collection, but I just didn't want them to sort of show them on this stream really. So I just wanted to sort of show some of my more oddities, if you like. So people have probably seen this before, but this was what got me into like collecting like errors and miscards, and then onto like prototypes and stuff like that. And it's also given me a focus for VC15 as well, because this is an upside down foil. So this is the foil clone trooper VC15, and obviously the figure's been put on upside down. And this was actually gifted to me by a lovely guy called Jeff. He thought I'd like it, and it was the first sort of thing I'd owned of this sort of thing. But it's really got me into because, as I say, like I know you, Nick, you like collecting the variants. There's lots for you to hunt out there. And there is some really rare pieces, but for me, that hasn't really got a lot of space on my walls to be able to do that. I kind of now go for like this sort of thing, like where it's an error. So this has made me sort of collect these. And while we're here on VC15, this is one that I picked up. This is a pre-production. You can't really tell, but it is a pre-production sample. And the name pill is a slightly different shade of purple or blue. Some of them were release production like that, so you can get ones that are like more purple than blue. But the pre-production ones are all that color. So
wow.
So that's why I've got that. And as I say, that's made me have a focus of this. So now I've got the unpunched Ophiolus, the unpunched Offer.
Yeah,
I've got the foil, normal foil, pre-production foil, and the upside down foil. So I'm getting a little bit of a collection of VC15s, and of course I love clone troopers, and that image of the clone troopers always been a a favorite of mine as well. So
I don't have a VC15 to hand here at the minute, Tim, but I can't remember. Is the card back normal? Is it like a dark blue or blue, and that one's purple? Are you saying?
Because
I don't remember purple, or maybe it was kind of that navy blue.
Honestly, it depends which one you've got, because there was some that went into production that had the slightly different. I think the early ones or the pre-production ones are like more of a blatant purple.
Yeah.
Whereas the other ones are still like a purpley blue. But you can definitely still notice the difference when they're side by side. And what I really need for this collection is something that Anthony's got, who's a massive collector of all of this sort of stuff, pre-production stuff and all that. You've probably seen him on Facebook.
Pagano.
Yeah, he's got the one with the helmet off.
Yeah.
Set to the side.
Yeah, his
you're after that still. I thought you had that, but maybe I got that wrong.
No, and I've asked him how many he thinks that. I think he said there's probably about 7 or 8 that exist. So, and that one's in the Blue Milk book as well. So, I would absolutely love that to go with those.
That's crazy.
We'll look out for it, Tim.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, it's times like now. I wished I was in my carded room doing this stream, and I'm downstairs. I want to see my wall and get things quick. But
yeah, I thought you'd be up there plucking stuff.
Plucking off the
live.
I've plucked already.
I will say, Tim, you see a lot of like crooked blisters. You don't really see them completely upside down. I think there might have been a barge yak face that was upside down. That might be the only other figure I've seen like that. I could be wrong.
But the thing is, like, I think someone posted one in the UK Dean's Facebook group not so long ago. It was an upside down one. I can't remember what figure it was. One of the new ones. And instantly loads of people start going, will you sell it to me or whatever? And then the admins have to come in and say, no PM dealing or whatever, or no DM dealing. Everything's got to be out in the open and all that. And I don't know whether the guy sold it or not, but I would have been interested if he'd wanted to sell it. So,
wow, that's great. All right, cool. Right, let's move on. So, speaking of Leia, I might as well bring this into this conversation now. So, I'd like to know your opinion, boys, on where this one ranks. So, I've got 5 slave Leias now because I only just recently got the SDCC set. So, I have the Revenge Ophilus US, I guess you would call it. So, let's have a look. So, I have this. It's just I never ever see this. I bought this again in 2020, and it's the return Canadian. You see the Revenge a lot. Well, I've never ever seen this other than the time I bought this. So I kind of consider this to be the rarest slave Leia.
Do you mean Revenge or Return with the pill in multi-language is rare? It's usually Revenge with the multi-name pill?
Did I misspeak? I see more often than this the Revenge Canadian, which is the Revenge multi-language. The one and only time I ever saw this was the day I bought it.
Oh, cool.
And I put a massive bid on this. And if somebody else was watching it and had the same idea, this would have cost me a lot more than it did. I can't remember what I paid for this, but it was half the. I think I don't know. I can't remember, but I did put 300 UK pounds down as my maximum bid. That's what I mean. If somebody else was watching it and really wanted it, it would have upped the bid something chronic. So I think I got it for, I don't know, 150, maybe less. But at that time, regular Leias were going for loads of money, like the regular single pill US and Return and Revenge. So I don't know, boys. What are your thoughts on that one?
Mitchell has said in the comments there, the Return multi-pill is rarer than the Revenge, and he's got a graded AFA 90, 9.0, which is
awesome.
Mitchell. What's up, Mitch?
Mitchell. Yeah, cool.
Mitch has got a nice. He's building quite the nice collection of rare and all that stuff, and graded as well.
Cool. So I'm really sorry. I should have done my homework a bit and got back to you and looked at some figures, as in some numbers for what I paid for certain things, but it wasn't any more than 150, I don't think. But as I say, I was prepared to pay 300 because back then we all had more money. It was locked down. I just really wanted it to fill that, because it would have been my 4th variant of her at the time, and now I have 5 with the SDCC. But I consider that now a full house of Leia slaves.
What's everyone's opinion about that one anyway? Because like I always found when I was buying my carded collection and trying to get, you know, not as many variants as you do, Nick, you know, but just like when it came to the Revenge and the Returns, I wanted at least one of them, you know. I didn't really care whether it's Canadian or not. I always found that the Revenge in general was not the SDCC one, obviously, but the Revenge one in general was easier to pick up than the Return.
Much easier.
For Leia.
I was going to talk about that as well, that some of those return cards were pretty hard to find unpunched.
Especially unpunched.
Regular offer, you're talking, with the blue sticker? Yeah. Right.
I had a hell of a time tracking down the English, the US carded return slave Leia unpunched, as John said, unpunched.
Yeah, there's a couple, right? There's the Vader, the Fett. Those were some of the harder ones to find.
I really want them.
Return unpunched.
Yeah.
With the
I ended up getting the return unpunched off of eBay. And I was so mad. I rarely leave negative on eBay, but it was, you know, unpunched. It was sold as unpunched, and the photography wasn't that great. And then I got it, and it was clearly that it wasn't punched all the way, where, you know, they put it on the peg, gouged the back of the tab, and then stuck it back in the card. And they sold it as punched. So I left the negative, and I said repunched is not unpunched. That was my comment. One of my few negatives that I've left.
Well, you know that crease we were talking about before, Chris? I thought that was because people had punched them out and then put it back in, and they creased it in the process. But actually, there's so many cards like that.
It could be. It could also be that they were put on a peg, and the tab was still like hanging there, and then someone bought it and just pushed it back in.
Maybe
there is a telltale where the tab pulls out. You'll get like little white pips wherever it separates from the card. So that's a telltale when that happens.
It's been compromised.
Yeah,
you can tell that between the first VC 1.0, the first wave, what's factory punched and what is previously unpunched, isn't it? You see those little buds.
Yeah.
Okay, so should we move back? We're back onto Chris.
Sure.
Cool, man.
And this isn't going in the order I was going to go in, but Tim brought it up. He didn't mention this one. It's the VC15 unpunched with the offer. So this one again, this was only in that remix case of that kind of like that wave 2.5 remix case, where there was some wave 1, some wave 2. That was the only time you could get this, because afterwards, this card unpunched isn't rare in and of itself. They carried it forward for a while, but it would have been offerless. So you can only get this one with the offer sticker unpunched if it came from that case. And to John's point, I got this for a song on eBay. I mean, some people don't know what they have. He was selling just a bunch of VC15s, and he had them all for, I think, $20. I saw this one. It's like, well, that one's, you know, pretty hard to come by. So I grabbed this one. And Tim, do you have this one?
I did. I think I did mention it, but like really quickly
okay.
When I mentioned about that one, I do have it. And it's funny enough, I had that one. That's the one I've always had. And it's only recently that I got the offerless unpunched.
Which is much more common. The offerless unpunched is much more common. And I didn't notice, but on the camera it's showing up blue. In hand, this looks fairly purple.
Let's have a look. 1 second.
Yeah.
That looks fairly blue on camera, but when I'm looking at it in hand, it's more purple.
Wow, that's interesting. That is. So this is an interesting story, Chris. You'll like this. It's the guy I told you about, where I was watching that auction for the Magna Guard. He's been selling, or he or she, whoever it is, has been selling a lot of their collection. I've been watching them like a hawk, this seller. And the first purchases I bought from them were a VC15, what you just showed, I think. I couldn't see because there was light gleaming off the bubble, but it's got stuff inside the... you have stuff inside the bubble there. It's not offerless. with it. So, yeah, so that's it, man. I got that for £39. But like what you just said, people don't know what they have. That's mad. So I didn't realize that was as rare as you were just stating. Very interesting.
And Mitchell Gum made a point. I'll have to crack it back out of the star case because the card back shows the Revenge of the Sith wave, whereas the carry forward shows the different figures on the cross set.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have two Sand Troopers like that. I've got one that's got like the previous release of Grievous, the 2005 packaging, and then there's another one with the card back. Is that correct? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the figures in the cross cell.
Yeah, not the main thing at the top. Those.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. So let's go solo there. Yeah.
02631. Yeah,
I see. Yeah, there you can see that. You can see Grievous with the 2005.
Yeah.
But there's another set which is different.
This is when the hardcore collectors, because Mark Simon, he's a fellow Facebook group guy that we talked to. There's a date stamp on that wave is 02631. He knows the date stamp.
Yeah. Wow. Do you want to talk to us about? I've never understood. Every time we've explained it, John Miko, but what's the deal with date stamps and how do you read them?
So the first number is the guys help me out the year. So 2010. That the 0 stands for 10. 1 would have been 2011. 2 would have been 12, and so on. And then 263 is the calendar day of the year.
Yeah.
And then 1 signifies production.
The shift. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're all 1. I mean, means the production run.
Interesting.
Yeah. Want me to go?
Yeah. Is it your turn? It is your turn, of course. But before you go,
or is it Tim? I'm sorry. I don't know.
No, it's you. Around. John.
It's very, very quickly. Thank Lara V there. Thank you very much.
Oh, nice.
Well, we'll answer that question after Miko goes, or should we answer that now? What? Well, no. Go on. You go, John, and then we'll answer that question.
And forgive me, I'm trying to remember which wedge. Like I haven't talked about this stuff in so long. I'm forgetting everything. Which wedge was the rarer one? Was it the one with the close-up of wedge or the card back of wedge? I think the close-up of wedge, right?
I think so. I honestly can't remember.
Mitch, now. Mark, somebody. Well, anyways, I'll pull up.
I'll keep an eye on that.
Trying to remember here. Hopefully, Mitch is still on. Let me open these up, but I have both versions of wedge. There's another one I think Mark is looking for that's got like a variation on the back. But here's the wedges, and one of them has that sticker, Obi-Wan, that's used in the carry forward. Yeah, when they're carried forward to put the new UPC on. The back photo with the card back was the rare. Okay, that makes sense, right? Because it was pulled and then carried forward, I believe. Because the card, the year on this is 2011, day 41, and it's got the sticker over. Yep. And then this one was in 2012. Then a whole year later, day 53. So this was the one I think a lot of people, it was pulled at one point.
Yeah. I want that now, man.
So
this is a bad idea in this dream.
I knew this was going to be a bad idea for you, Obi-Wan.
So I knew about that, but I can't tell you which one I've got.
Yeah, and I know Mark Simon. Full card back is more rare for wedge and R2. All right, so there you go.
Wow.
Yeah, full card backs. That's what Mitch was saying, right? So R2 has it as well. I don't even know if I knew that.
No.
I'm gonna have to check my R2s.
So. And then R2's got the revenge card as well, hasn't it? So
yeah.
Yeah, so he came with a lot of different offers, right? He came with
a sticker as well. You can get the prototype Corona sticker, I call it.
Yeah,
What do you
good
call
stuff.
that sticker? You know the one I mean, with the kind of look like a sun, like a sun thing.
Oh.
Starburst.
Starburst is that the one,
Starburst,
right?
yeah.
Okay. And then the other one's the
Starburst.
Fett, blue Fett, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, R2 you can get with the Starburst, the prototype Fett. I think you can get them offerless. There's a lot of.
There's a factory
versions.
punched one of that, a bit like VC15, I'm sure, because I was eyeing it up again. Something else I should have pulled the trigger on because it's gone. I've never seen it again, and it was only on for not much. This was back in
And Mitchell's 3:45 comment, so it's what 8:45 maybe your time.
8:45.
He noted another like rabbit hole you can go down of which side of the card are the figures in the photos on the back. How there's
sorry, Mitchell, and sorry, John. That's what I think I was talking about before.
You can see.
I've got 2 sand troopers. Yeah, let me just go on to you again. I've got 2 sand troopers, and I was going to sell one of them thinking it was the same as what I've just. Anyway, hang on a minute. There you go, John.
I was just saying, like, you could see. I mean, there's ones where it's like, the figures are on different sides, and I don't know. There's all these variations on the back that can go. That can bring you down a crazy rabbit hole.
I got it wrong. What I was just saying then. I was sorry. Yeah, there is that, but the other thing was different with the old packaging for 2005 or whatever. Yeah.
I love it as well that the back of them have the Canadian Yoda.
I know. Yeah, I first noticed that on an Akbar VC22.
Yeah. So they're talking about the rarities. I can't remember what it was, but we're on another live stream and we're talking about Canadian Yoda, and I said, I swear I've seen a Canadian Yoda, but with a single name pill. And everyone's like, no, because it's the whole reason it's Canadian.
I think that's
but then one came up on eBay, and our friend Mr. Anthony got it.
Wow!
And I was gutted.
And it was out of like Pawtucket. It was someone out of Rhode Island, which leads to, I'm pretty sure someone was selling off some of their Hasbro employee prototypes. Old employee.
That's interesting.
Yeah, what a great thing to have. I mean, Nick, that's that might be like the grail of grails for you then, isn't it? Like the Canadian Yoda, but with the US name pill.
Yeah.
We'll come back to that.
I'd love that.
We'll hear from. I can't remember the orders. Chris, are you next, Chris, or will it be back to me or what?
Tim.
Oh, it's Tim. I'm sorry. We'll come back to that thought you just said there, Tim. That Yoda you were talking about, you saw it on eBay. Whoever bought it, but have you seen any subsequent pictures of it or images? Because I still don't quite believe that exists because I haven't seen it, if you know what I mean.
100% exists.
Oh, I remember seeing it too. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Because I think I messaged you about it, John, didn't I?
Yeah. Yeah, we talked we ended up talking to Anthony. He was like, yeah, I got it.
Yeah. He seems to get everything, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm just going to carry on with my things that Nick hates. He's not a Miscard fan.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
But this is the next one that I got in my sort of collection of trying to get oddities and miscards and stuff, and that is I believe that's Echo on a off-world Jawa card back. Now there is quite a few of these around, so this is one of those ones where there's it's quite a common miscard, if that's even a thing, because a whole case of these was found at a local Smith's here in the UK by one person, and they took them all, and then they put some up for auction and stuff and gave a bit of the money to charity and what have you. And it's this one that kind of brought in a lot more collectors of this sort of thing, because they just couldn't believe, the people that were going for this, that the prices were going up, £400-500 or whatever, and people just couldn't really believe the money that people were willing to shell out for something like this. I got mine for a little bit cheaper. I waited, and I think I got one of the last ones. But yeah, that's my next thing. So as I said, I could show like, you know, some of the like Canadian Yodas and things like that, but I just thought I'd bring something a bit different
that's great.
to the table. Do you know what I mean?
Good for you.
Gems, baby, gems.
Yeah, the gems part of it. Yeah,
that's it. Gems and rarities. One of my gems later, Tim, you're not gonna like. You're just not gonna like it, man. Just like with me, with the thing with the miscards is, I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe the ones that are upside down, I might like a bit more than say. I don't like it when the figure doesn't match the card back. Like that magnitude does not work for me on that Boba Fett card back.
Maybe that's what he really looked like in real life. We don't know.
Maybe.
You know? That's what he originally looked like.
So another one that was, this is what kind of started the ball rolling. I mean, I can't remember what I bought now. Chris from Bantha Skull, I bought something and then I messaged you about it, or I was asking you about something.
That you were asking me about the there goes my phone. Hopefully it's not broken. You were asking me about this. You asked, right. You know, if it doesn't have the paper, that means it's from SDCC. And I said, yes, correct.
That's right. Yeah, because I had that Akbar, didn't I? And I was confirming with you that the Akbar I had was, and I was amazed because I think you first said it, Tim. You were like, oh, no, that has to be you 99.9% sure it was from the SDCC. And then we clarified that. So, yeah. And then you said, I've got something that will make you sick.
Yeah. Should we go back a little bit?
Yeah.
Tell the story of this. So, as John said, I wrote that article, and that's how John and I started, you know, talking. They're rare and they don't care. And again, it's about the 4 unpunched from wave 1 and 2. And in that article, I said there's one that's even, in my opinion, even scarcer, but you really don't care about this. It's so in the weeds that most people aren't going to care about it. And what it was is I'm sorry, I'm jumping the line a little bit, is which I think you're going to show, is this VC23 Luke.
Yeah, let me get you one.
So it's this VC23 Luke. And again, to bring up the point of fake Orpheus, this is also VC23 Luke here. But like a schmuck, I took the offer off. I wish I didn't do that. But I wanted to see the card, and you can tell that I did that because there you have the Rocket Firing Fett redemption form right there. So this is a fake offerless. This one here is true offerless. Does not have the order form here in the bottom of the bubble. It's a true offerless. And Chris, as you all know, what was that, John?
The date stamp.
Oh God. 294. Same year, 2010, 294, and this in the original one I have is 249. So John's showing. Oh no, that's the same one.
Yeah,
right there. This is obviously the This is obviously the error card because this is the Luke Jedi card. Also has the no silver in the pill there.
Yeah.
But it's the Endor capture. Sorry about the glare here. The Endor capture Luke. And what happened, where this one came, long story here, is wave 5 of the vintage collection, which actually jumped over wave 4 at retail here. So we went the Empire Strikes Back wave, the Revenge of the Sith wave, the Return of the Jedi wave. Then we were supposed to have the Attack of the Clone wave for wave 4. In the US here, we jumped over it at retail and went to the remix wave 5, which is where we got the Stormtrooper, which was already yellowing, where we got the Utapau Clone Trooper, the 212 Clone Trooper, which I'm going to talk about later, which was already yellowing. A few other things. This was in there as a carry forward. We're all showing it off simultaneously. But it was very quickly corrected to the Endor capture card. Very quickly corrected to it. So right. It wasn't like that this variation, this combinations of factors existed for a long time. And if for an entire wave within wave 5, it was very quickly corrected to the Endor capture. And I remember there was a Walmart that I go to every morning on the way to work, and I saw it there, but I already had it, and I wasn't into collecting all the flavors of cards back then. So I passed on it. Then I get to work, and like everybody in the internet age, get to work, and I hopped on the Rebel Scum forums, before starting my actually working, got to do a little internet time. Hopped on the Rebel Scum forums, and somebody said, "Hey, by the way, if you're into rare combinations of factors, they've already switched this over to the Endor capture card." And I had already actually seen it, the Endor capture card as well myself. But if you want the unpunched and offless version, grab it, because they switched over really quick. And I went, I'll go with Nick's Simpsons theme from earlier. Don't, as soon as I read that, I'm like, I just saw it this morning. This morning I saw it, and I didn't pick it up. And they said, it's pretty scarce. So then at lunch I went back, and it was still there, much to my pleasure. And this is a fake unpunched, because it was punched. It won't come up, but there's gouges on the back, and mine looks a
little compromised.
Yeah, you never know, do you? You don't want to try it out, do you? Really, you just want to. At least it's got something there. It's not an empty space. You know what I mean?
How's yours, Tim?
Yeah, it looks all right.
So now John, this is where the story gets crazy. John read that article. He obviously picked up his. Tim just being a stud. He wasn't. He had it on his own.
Sorry, Chris. Do that again, Tim.
Oh, virgin unpunched.
No, Chris. I'm not silly. You think I had this for ages, right? I got this because Nick was going to do a video about it. And if Nick's going to do a video about it, then the price is going to go up. So
that's how it works.
I just quickly went onto eBay, and it was there. And I won't tell Nick how much I got it for, because he'll be annoyed at me. But I got it from America. I was getting some stuff sent over from America anyway, and I just said, "Oh, can you pick this up for me? Just buy it." It was, "I want to buy it now." So just buy it, and I got it sent over with some other stuff.
So Tim, is that your surprise for tonight? One thing that was going to annoy me. I'm sure you said that.
No, I never said that to you.
No, have I got that wrong? Sorry, I thought you had the surprise that you didn't want to say that you had what you had.
No, that was the thing that I told you. No. That's a miscard that I've got recently as well.
Right.
Mark Simon in the chat, really quick, was just saying 2 sold pretty cheap recently on eBay. It's probably a year or 2.
Well, John, to your point, people don't know what they have.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to keep your eye out, haven't you? Even for Cody, you might get lucky.
So then John read my article. He gets his. Fast forward to the Blue Milk book, and John was one of the people that was able to QC it, right, John?
Yeah, I got to review the book. Yeah,
and they did not originally. I'll let you tell us, because I'm repeating secondhand. They did not have this version in there, right? Yeah, that's the first article that I
got
wrote.
That up now, so we'll bring that in later.
But yeah, they didn't have this in their little grid there of which figures came with an offer list, blah blah blah, and they didn't believe me at first that it existed.
Well, Dave knew it existed because he photographed it for Rebel Scum.
That's right.
But he thought it was a factory sample. He didn't think it was an actual retail.
Oh, that's right. Thank you for the reminder. Yeah.
And then you told him you got to talk to me about it. And I'm like, so he emailed me. I think he emailed me, and I'm like, no, I could tell you the exact store. I could tell you right now, the West Boylston, Massachusetts Walmart. That's where I picked it up. It was an actual retail release.
So have they now put it into the book?
Because of John, it made the first release.
Right. So this is like, I've read a lot of the book, and I looked at like some of the rarities at the back, and the pre-production stuff that never made it into the line and things like that. But I'd never maybe paid attention to that. Otherwise, I would have known about it before you informed Nick about it. But as I said, like with Nick, if he's going to do a video about it, people are going to watch it, and then the first thing they're going to do is go, the rarest, the rarest TVC figure. So I just immediately just went, and then when I found it was there, and I thought, this can't be. Everyone must be mistaken. But I didn't check the blue milk book.
That's what
everyone's got to be mistaken about this, because it's right there, and I'm just
exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
That's the same with me,
That
Chris.
rare because it's
When Chris told me about it, the first thing I saw was it was there. I mean, I know the
Yeah,
guy
yeah.
from is a very expensive seller, but if he knew what he had, maybe he would have charged double whatever he had it on for. But I don't. Well, what did you get it for, Tim? Come on, just tell us.
I'll tell you off. I'll tell you off.
All right, mate.
Well,
What's the big deal? What's the big deal?
Well, but it is the point. Rare does not mean valuable.
No,
Yeah.
It's, again, why I originally wrote this article is they're rare and you probably
Yeah.
don't care. It turns out for those 4 people do care. Now they are valuable. At the time they weren't. So rare doesn't necessarily mean valuable. So even though I personally, my opinion, this is somewhat scarce, I don't think I think it's so niche that people don't.
Yeah,
The market
Yeah.
hasn't.
No one-
It's like-
reflected it.
it's like Dagobah Luke. It's like that is not rare,
Mm.
but it's everyone
Sought
loves
after.
everyone loves that card, and
Yeah.
it will never get reissued because it's got an old sculpt on it now. I mean, they might use that picture again, but it'll be a different figure in the bubble, right? If they ever do that one again. But that's one that is now one of the most expensive out there. But it's not rare, is it? Because they release loads of them.
It's like all those figures that come out the woodwork, you know, when they reissue stuff, then everyone wants to sell their Ahsoka or their Shea Vizsla, and they all come out the woodwork. I'm convinced there's more of all sorts out there, but people just hold on to them, and then they'll be sold when they want to, they announce they're going to bring them out again. Maybe you'll see more unpunched Codys.
Mitchell Gum's talking there about the ultra rare Euro cards. So
hold on, Tim. Hold on. Let's take a step back with the Euro.
Okay.
I was trying to say something before that, but no one cared about Euro Afra until Corey in the Facebook group posted on it the second time. And then that went crazy. It went from something like a 30-pound figure to like $400 like that.
Yeah.
So
I was just about to say though, because when it comes to those Euros, I actually think because the Afro one is the one everyone talks about. I actually think the Cassian is actually harder to find because I often see people selling. I often see people selling the Afra, but I never see the Cassian. And obviously now you've got the Cassian without it because they reissued, didn't they? So
do you have it out? Do you have it?
I have this. Sure. I have both. Should I go? Is it my turn? I can't remember.
Yeah, go.
Let's do this.
So I actually took your turn, Nick. So.
Oh, did you? I can't remember. Yeah. I'm just having a great time listening to this nerdish discussion. Anyway, it's great. But so I did bring this down as well because I don't know where I heard that it was rare.
Yeah.
You probably, Tim.
Yeah,
there it is. Like with the Afro I've got as well here. I'll take it out of the case in a minute. I could have opened there. I'm so glad I didn't. I had no idea.
I personally think that Cassian is harder to find than the Afro.
So why the hell have I got it then? Did I just get a batch of them and then everyone else got the US? That I got that from that guy, Darkside. Was he Darkside Toys?
He must have been ordering from like a distributor from Europe, like mainland Europe, because we before the UK, before Hasbro UK existed, all the distributors over here used to order probably from Entertainment Earth, to be honest. So they would have got the US cards of everything.
Yeah.
What's rare about that Cassian though?
Well, it doesn't have the it doesn't have the thing in the corner.
The warning.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was looking at.
Does it have paper? Does it have papers in it? Like.
Yeah. In the bottom of the so does she. Bottom of the pill.
That's right, because by this time they were using like the same card for the most part, and I never liked the Euro cards for the way that paper. There's like so much paper folded up. It wasn't all nicely folded like TVC 1.0.
Nah, no. Factory punched as well, Miko. They're not as nice to look at. I'm not as interested in these as much. They get unpunched.
Careful with the bubbles on those. A lot of the first couple waves of 2.0. We're coming off,
but she's good though. They're both kind of in that time period where they were sorting it out, which is nice because otherwise, every figure I've got now for 2.0, all that Force Awakens stuff, they've got no glue left, man. It's all dried up. It's terrible.
Yeah, but Miko, that was always the trade-off. Like, say for example, the Rogue One tank commander. Yeah, he's quite a rarish figure, if you like. There's two versions of him. There's single name pill, multi-language name pill. So it's always the trade-off. If you want the nicer name pill with just the single name in it, then you have to deal with the paper in the bubble.
Yeah. I
And then you don't get the warning up there.
I had a lot of the single name Euro cards because we were getting the ones that had ours defaulted in the US were all multi-language, but I noticed the glue on some of them was starting to let go, so I got rid of it all.
The rogue, a lot of the I'm finding a lot of my rogue ones like Chirrut Imwe, especially the Dark Trooper. The Dark Trooper's like really bad.
Oh, really? Even
I've had 3 Dark Troopers just completely fall off the card. But you mentioned there when they started using the same card. I think that was around the Rise of Skywalker wave. That's when they just started to use. So there is no single,
Yeah. So I've managed to replace most of my Force Awakens stuff with the second whatever they did of it, without the sellotape. But there was sellotape surely on the Death Trooper was in that first wave, wasn't he?
No. So I'm not. So the first wave, the wave 1 was the only one with tape. But when that got reissued, it got reissued with glue.
Of course, yeah.
But no, the Death Trooper, he came out in the wave with, I can't remember, a few waves later, basically. But those, for some reason, it's the actual glue. There's no tape. The actual glue is just drying, and they just fall off completely.
They're very
they even look like they've never been glued.
Really thin surface area as well, isn't it?
And dare I say it, a lot of people's yak faces are doing it from the barge.
Yes, they are. Yep.
My one is the top corner never had any glue on it. The top right, always like you could see the air underneath it. Like
I keep those in my basement. I don't want to bring them up into in any of a drier or hotter area. I just leave them in my basement. Yeah.
My God, man. That's just such a worry, isn't it? You know what I mean? I always knew that my one was not properly minted. You know what I mean? And it's probably
I was lucky enough to get the chance to buy a yak face off somebody that didn't want theirs, and mine's the same as yours, Nick. Mine was literally, maybe even like it was getting so bad, like almost half the bubble was becoming like that.
Wow!
I just thought, how long is this going to be until it actually ends up falling off the card? So I managed to get a nice one, and then I sold mine on for a fair price because obviously they knew what was going to happen essentially. So
here's an old name from the past. I haven't heard from Ryan Byrne for a while. A Paploo with missing left arm on the card in the bubble. How about that? That's awesome.
I saw that. Yeah, that was. I saw that one on. I saw that on eBay. I think.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd like that.
Wow. Yeah.
So the yak face there, that's one to watch. Then you're saying there, Tim. That's interesting about that.
Yeah, I got rid of one because it was doing that.
I was going to say something else as well. Sorry about that silence there, and I've forgotten because I pulled up Ryan's comment and I've literally forgotten. It can't have been that important. I would have remembered it. But still, what else, boys? Let's have a look. So who's next? I can't remember. I don't know what we're doing.
Chris.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, it's you.
Is he muted?
Yeah.
Sorry, I was muted. Correct.
I
think it was.
I jumped the line, so I'll go again if you want because I got to.
I think it's my turn then. I think.
Okay, go on then.
Shoot. All right. I'm just going to talk about a 1.0 figure that had a running change. This is the reissue of VC08. The first 2 days, I think, or 3 days production run, because they were doing smaller batches for some reason with some of these. He has a helmet that comes apart. And you probably don't care. So this is just like the one from 1.0, but they did a running change where they glued these parts together or made it one part. So if you
hang on, John. So this is the reissue, right?
Yes. with
And-
photoreal.
Yeah. So okay. So because the original one always came apart, right?
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Because now you say
Hang on
it, I don't think mine one does it. Yeah, it doesn't come apart, does it? No. They made it one piece.
Every
didn't they?
VCO8 I've ever opened is doing what yours is doing there. So I'm not quite sure what you're getting at here.
I just told you it's a 2.0.
Oh, it's a
update
2.0. I
that
thought you
opened.
started
Pay
out saying,
attention.
oh,
Pay
1.0
attention,
bigger.
Nick. Jesus Christ.
Oh, I know what you mean now. You mean the reissue that was in 2.0. I'm with you now, my friend.
Yeah. So there's a first couple days of production run where it has the separate,
Right.
like the photo reel.
So
all
made
that. Again,
like the TVC 1.0, but
yeah. And again, you probably don't care.
Well, can I be the actually guy? You'd never be able to prove it because you could just take a 2-part helmet from TVC 1.0 and marry it with that figure.
Absolutely.
Right. I just know it's
Yeah.
it's true. I can tell you that.
That is 4.5 minutes we're not going to get back.
Hey,
Whatever it was.
I said you probably don't care. I just want to say hello to Gareth in the chat. Hello, good sir.
Let's have a look. Where's Gareth?
All right, go over some more of your stupid Canadian cards.
Oh my God.
It's Christmas now. We're fighting.
Can I remind you, John, you're a guest here and don't be so rude.
I have a couple Canadian cards to show.
A good segue for me to talk about the one that I know Tim won't like. This is one of my favorite Canadian cards because I just love. It's like an oddity though, isn't it? They couldn't have put more information in the bubble if they tried. Really, I know the Han Solo one's a bit like this, but I love this. This is my favorite Canadian. This is the 68 VC60. I love all that. Look at that.
my God.
I just love that, Tim. I mean, do you know
What's
what?
the other one that does that? Is it Ponda Barber? That's got like shed loads in there.
I don't know. I've never seen that. Han Solo's got a lot in. I'll show him in a second. But no, the thing is, right, if I just only had that one, that would really annoy me because my first ever VC6, is it 65 TIE Fighter, was the one with the multi-language. And I hated the fact that was it. I really wanted the single pill. But I just love that. So a closer look. Look at all that information there. Wow.
That would be the longest. That would be longer than the longest book I read in high school. I didn't read any of the inside reading in high school.
I believe, Nick, they added Portuguese.
Oh, really? Now?
Yes, they did,
Did you
John.
say
Yeah,
that?
it's got Portuguese on it. Yeah, that's right.
Maybe you should note that in the future. Write it down.
Yeah. I should get my. Yeah, let's have a look.
Yeah, I got the same one.
Hey.
Same one.
I got some Canadian love. Canadian love.
Very nice. Great
Or
stuff.
North American card. We should call it North American card, right? Is that what it was?
Whilst I'm on the topic of Canadians, I'll blow me load now. Ooh, pardon. So I've got two Canadians that are, well, they're the same kind of. That's it. Loads of information. Well, not as much as you can see, but I love this card because this has got like, legit, like the retro collection's got that crappy crap on the outside. Well, this is obviously in not very good condition. I got this from Canada, shipped over. But I like that. It just gives
the Boba era as well.
You what? So yeah.
The Boba era
That's
Yeah,
talk about.
That's true. I like that. And then this is my favorite. This is in a much better condition. And I'd say this is a rare piece. This is the silver Canadian for VCO3, which is also really nice. I like that one. I really want to get the Luke Bespin that you can get that's multi-language, that's silver. I've got the regular Canadian for Luke Bespin, but I'd love to get the silver like this. Silver Canadian. If anyone has that. Do you have that one? Any of you two fella? I know Tim might not have it. Shouldn't presume anything with Tim. He probably does.
Silver Canadian of what? Sorry, I was looking away.
Silver Canadian VCO4 Bespin Luke.
No,
I've got the Canadian.
I had the foil. I sold all my foils.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like that, but it's the Luke equivalent.
Yeah, because obviously we didn't talk about the whole Boba era thing. So I think I've got two of those. I think there might be like 8 of them or something. I've got the best one, I think, which is actually the Boba Fett card, VCO9 with the bobber sticker. And that one's that one's punched, obviously. But then I do have the unpunched VCO9, which I believe is another one of those ones from the early ones that were punched. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That one's it's not as much as the Luke and the Cody and things like that, but VCO9 unpunched is quite tough to get hold of, I'd say.
Yeah, it was like one of those ones we first saw, and it was like, wow, I didn't know it existed. But then you see it a lot more than, say, I don't know, Cody.
Yeah, oh yeah, big time. Yeah. I think you'd probably pick one up for like 150 quid, something like that.
Yeah, that's about right. But people probably would have wanted to pay that kind of money for that one back, say, like in 2019 when I didn't get that Cody. I probably in my head thought that Fett would have been more expensive, or worth that money.
Yeah.
Crazy, isn't it? It's amazing.
Who's up?
Did you nick my go, Nick? Anyway,
I think I dived in with all that Canadian stuff. I can't remember.
God, right, you're the host.
Didn't you just have a go? I can't remember what happened.
No, been sitting here waiting patiently.
I tell you who's had a go. John Miko keeps having a go at me.
Okay, so this is something that I'm really chuffed with. It's a new acquisition. It is a miscard. And I think, I'm not 100% sure about this, but I think this could be a one of one. And that is because the card back and the figure in question are from play sets and vehicles.
Ooh.
So it's not one where you've got it from like a case where they've mixed up the two figures. And it's the cool droid.
Wow, Tim, look at that.
Keeping that from us, man. What's up?
Is this the secret? This is the big reveal now. That's awesome. Man. I do like that one.
So unpunched. So this is going to look cool, because I always get the cards that are included, like packed in a more expensive set, graded. So I send them off to be graded. So this is going to look really good next to, this one. Oh, yeah. And then next to the droid card as well, like on the shelf.
In the middle of both of them. Yeah, man.
So that's
that one, Tim. I do like that. I was thinking earlier when we were talking about miscards, I was thinking how even an R2D2 on a Fett card, I'd like the look of it more because I just, I like R2 say more than say a snaggletooth. Something, you know what I mean? But that looks awesome.
Did you unbox that one, Tim? No, I did buy it. But it's as I say, it's one of them that, as I was saying with this one that I've had for ages, this one, there was 8 of these found. The whole case was found, But with that one, maybe someone has the opposite way if they bothered to get that one wrong, in the factory. Wow. Maybe someone has the clone trooper on the droid card, which would be amazing. So, Yeah,
so I have a question for the whole group. I've already asked you this, Tim. We communicate, obviously, on WhatsApp or whatever, whenever we're talking. But my question to Tim, or I made the point, do you think that Hasbro chuck out these miscards is almost like a gift to the community? Just put them out there, man, and then whoever gets, a bit like putting out Wonka tickets, you know what I mean? To the best, the luckiest man wins it. You know what I mean?
I don't think so because not many people really care about them, to be honest.
But if you had someone like us working in a factory, we'd be making loads of them, wouldn't we? Well, you know what I mean? We'd do a cheeky batch of them when no one's looking.
Well, I mean, I guess there is that. If somebody, if somebody realised that there is a market for it, but
then that wouldn't be worth much, like you say, the whole batch.
Exactly. Then if you flood the market of anything, then you ruin that market, don't you? So, no, it's, if you worked in a retailer or something and you're unboxing these things a lot and you're sending them out to people, I'd imagine that you come across it more often than some mere mortals like us.
Yeah.
But that.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Sorry, sorry. Go on. You can finish.
No. That's it.
I was going to say, speaking of eBay and what you find on eBay, and something I haven't got that I could have brought into the stream. I saw on eBay, and it was in my ended items, a it was an unpunched VC 2.0 Gamorrean guard. Or Gamorrean guard. Oh my God, we've got Ryan Byrne watching. I don't want to get that wrong. I pronounce Gamorrean. Sorry. Gamorrean guard, Gamorrean, however you pronounce it. So it was unpunched and it was in the ended items. So I obviously must have watched it because I was just watching things on eBay as you do. And it went for £60. And I actually messaged the seller and I said, wow, was that an unpunched? It was unpunched, bloody blah. Clearly it was. I just wanted to confirm. And they said, yeah, I bought it like that. And they sold it. I should have got that, man, had I realized what it was. Ugh.
Wow.
But upstairs, I've got a semi-unpunched retro Fett. You know, the prototype Fets that they did in that Skittles colored line?
Yeah.
And it's been half unpunched. The front is not black. It's kind of white. So one of the layers, because they're quite thick card backs, it's obviously got layers of card and a bit of the black bit's gone, so you just see white. But on the back side of it, you can see what the card back is, silver, shiny thing. So I'll run and get that in a minute and show that maybe. But that's an example of a factory error, I guess.
Who's next?
Yeah, somebody say something. Chris. Go on, Chris.
So I don't know if this one will show up on cam. It's not, you're going to say, oh, that's, VC.
Oh, Chris, now this, sorry, Chris, this I think is rare.
I can't find a good one of this one. So mad.
Man, I've never found one of these. Go on, Chris, take it away.
So if you notice, the helmet is not that highlighter yellow green that most of them are. They corrected the helmet on some of these, and the way you can tell, and I don't know if it's going to show up. You can see it there. You can see it. You can see this tape applied here, and if you look how precise that is, that has to be machine applied tape, and that's perfectly applied. And the only place I don't even know if there's a name to this variation, so it's hard to find, but it's basically it's got the non-yellowed helmet on the 212th Clone Trooper. And the only place that I'm aware of in the States where these came up was Five Below here in the States. Was famous. They were getting the wheelbarrows that were in the front of the store, and they were just dumping entire cases of this wave into these wheelbarrows for $5 a piece, and that's where I got this one.
Yeah, Lil Pookie's putting Five Below 212 variant in the chat there.
Okay, so that's the name of it. And
what's up?
You can either call me an idiot or just being a decent collector. I bought my own one set. I was there an entire wheelbarrow full of these things. I bought my one set and left. Honestly, if it was today, I'd probably be a jerk and I'd probably buy out the entire store. If I saw that again. But I bought my one, and this Nick, I said that Luke was rare. I actually think this is probably rarer than the.
Yeah, I reckon it is. I've never seen one for sale, man. Really? And I've hunted.
There's one on eBay, but it's just not a great card.
Right.
This one
forever.
This one's not perfect. It's got again they literally just cut the cases open and dumped them right in the wheelbarrows. It's got a scuff there. It probably doesn't show up on camera, so it's not perfect, but I'm happy with it.
Talking about helmets, and we talked about the VC-15 Clone Trooper. There is one, bubble makeup where the head that the helmet is offset to the. They also did that as well with the Rebel Commando, but it's a lot more common. Do either of you guys have that?
Rebel Commando.
So the Return of the Jedi Rebel Commando, in the bubble, he has his hat on. There is one where it's set aside, and I saw one for sale not so long ago, actually.
Yeah, you've mentioned that to me. I've never seen that before. I can't even picture it existing. It's like one of them.
It's definitely the return card, not the revenge card.
Yeah. All right. That's
pretty sure.
Yeah, he's another one. There's variants galore for him. You can get the black stickers on the front and back for him as well. So it's like the situation I've got with Akbar right now and Wicket. I'm going mental looking for all those different variants. Revenge, return, black sticker, Ophilus,
So do you count the black sticker as a variant, considering it's just considering it's just the card itself is not different? It's just they're taking over something.
The thing with the black sticker is you can get Revenge and Return, but the black sticker thing, that's because of the blacked out Ewok saying that it is, isn't it, really? If it came with that sticker on the back.
Yeah, it's a factory done thing, yeah.
I don't have one down here, actually.
But what I'm saying is, because those... Yeah, exactly. You can peel them off without damaging the card. So the card ends up being the same thing.
And I still have now up in my room, I've still got a woof that's got the black sticker on the front. I kept it on, but I peeled the sticker off the back, which I regret that now. Because I just bought another woof.
I've done that a few times, I think.
Yeah.
I had a Cathaba that had a sticker on the bottom of this. The sticker was on the bottom, was for I forget, Brazil or South America.
Yeah, there is, yeah.
We've talked about that, John.
It's a smaller sticker, isn't it?
That little white thing.
it was the whole bottom. Yeah. The whole black section was updated with different I sold it. I don't even remember.
I want to say that's
I did a video on it.
Is it?
There's a German thing that BOE keeps talking about.
Is it a Mexican card that
might have been Mexico? You're right.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, you're right.
There's a
speaking of ones that are
the jetpack. Yeah, his backpack.
So I can't do this.
Wow.
So there's the son of a.
See, I wonder what version I've got, man. I wouldn't know.
So it's back there, and on the other one, it's on him.
So my one is, I've just had a look. I've got the one with it's on, not separate.
I think the separate one is the. Let me see here.
So should have done the stream in my carded room. I'll have to wait for later.
Oh, they're both the same date stamp. I forgot.
Wow.
Both the same day.
So it's just a different tray, isn't it? So this is the sort of thing I think that I would, the rabbit hole that I think I would go down, rather than the sort of name pill.
You like that kind of.
I quite like that, where it's just
bigger variations. Do you like things like the what's he called, Dr. Avazan pink scar? Or
I've got both scar variants of him. I've got both Fets, one with the readout, one with not. I would like to find the one without the Wookiee braids, because that's an error. I think at the moment there's a it's on eBay. It's been on for ages, but I just think it's too expensive, and I think it's graded as well. There's an Emperor, so TVC 2.0 Emperor, but he hasn't got his accessories in the bubble. They've so not the electric hands, they're not in there. The cane's not in there.
What, like a mistake?
Yes, it's like an error. Yeah, it should be. Just like the figure with the Wookiee braids, he should have the Wookiee braids, but he doesn't. Because they've made that mistake a few times. It's not just on the Return of the Jedi Fett. I think the Droids Fett, some of them had that as well.
Someone mentioned about the orange pill there, that Boba Fett. And when you first reviewed that, Tim, clickbait, you had the orange pill card in your.
That's because that's the only image that they supplied, wasn't it?
Yeah. Could you not have taken a photograph? I'm just joking. I'm joking. But Ryan Byrne here has mentioned this. He always asked me about that version of VC 151. Do you remember the text in the beginning part of 2.0? The text was really small, wasn't it, for stuff? It might even be small for like Dr. Afra, maybe. She was. Anyway, apparently there's a 151 of Luke Yavin like that, but I never wanted it to find it, Ryan, just to address that question, because I always like the chunkier text anyway.
Miko, you will be able to tell us about this, won't you? Because isn't there like 3 different ones?
Yeah, I don't have the rarest of them. So there's the regular font, right? There's the small font here with the paper, with no paper, and then there's one with, I think, the paper, which is the rarest. I could be wrong, or is this the rarest? Oh, this might be the rarer one, because I have maybe a small crease on mine. Somebody help me out. I forget. There's a small font with paper and without paper, and one of them's rarer than the other. Whatever.
I've got both fonts, so like the large font and the small font, but I don't have the other one that you talked about. So whichever one it is, but I don't know where they are. Like to get to show you now.
Yeah, I think I might have got that wrong. The first 2.0, they might not have had that small text Like, I don't remember Ray having really small text. I think it was maybe subsequent waves they went really small.
Yeah, I think this was a first issue of it, and then they corrected it to the larger font.
It went chunkier again. I can't remember what time period it was in waves where they had that small text. Just very quickly, this is another Canadian. This is they obviously have to use a different font for this, don't they, or size, because they have to fit all that stuff in it, all the different languages and stuff. But there's another nice one I like, that Canadian Akbar, and also that's faded as well. Atmospheric. It's the bubble's not gone yellow, but the card certainly has changed from.
And what's interesting about that one, Nick, is that's the Canadian card, but it's not. It hasn't got the bobber error. It's got it's got the corrected.
Oh
sticker.
yeah, the green was different, right, Tim or Nick? You tell me that, right?
That's right. We had a big discussion about that, and the seller just said it can't be light damage. It's been in the box or whatever. And people did get in touch and they showed me their cards that have aged, that have never seen the light of day. A Han Solo, I think, Han Ceremony did that. I think that might have been Daniel actually, or somebody. So yeah, very interesting.
When you were talking to me about that one, Nick, what struck me is why didn't the red fade on that?
Well,
it seems like just the green fade, like the red in Return of the Jedi. When you sent me the picture, it still looked vibrant.
What I don't need to go on big again. What the weird thing is, there is a shadow behind him as well that's kind of green, so it must be something to do with light.
Yeah, I think it's.
The back might be green. Damage. Yeah, it's hard to tell. I've got a really bad quality camera. I did a video on it, but I'm just glad the bubble isn't yellow. That's all I can say, because I like that. It's just still quirky. Sadly, it's not unpunched, but still, can't win them all. So, oh my God, it's okay. Everything's in star cases, thank God. So, how are we doing, boys? How are we getting? Are we scraping the bottom of the barrel yet, or have you still got some things to?
I just want to give some love to my host really quick and show him my favorite Canadian card.
Ooh,
all right.
Thank you, John.
Do you have this one?
I do, and I have him unpunched as well. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. I think the last time we did the stream, John, you might have even shown that. And I think I probably either didn't have him yet or I had the punched version, but now I have the unpunched. And the same with Yoda as well. I can finally hold my head high now, and I've got a proper Canadian Yoda in my life now, which I might show in a moment.
Question quickly beforehand, if you don't mind, John. Is it possible to get the Canadian but with the bluey brown bandana unpunched?
Oh, I think it was only the red.
Right.
Yeah.
Very good. So like you said, Tim, we could all show this because most people, if they really want it, they can go and get it somehow. But I'm just very glad to have got this. I haven't really talked about this on my main channel, only to Patreons and people, but very proud or pleased finally to get this monkey off my back and get the
God, you took that out of the blister or the star case. Oh. Oh.
Yeah, the previous one I had was in really bad condition. The bubble was damaged and it was punched, and I got wow. But anyway, long story short, I finally got a proper one of them.
So that is my favorite out of everything. Like for the actual like production releases, if you like. When you're talking about Jar Jar and in Carbonite and mini cards, that is my favorite because it's just so weird, isn't it? You've got
3-in-1, Tim. Like you
got the Revenge of the Sith, Yoda, Jedi name like movie, but with the scene from Empire. Love it.
And Canadian bubble back. And punched as well. That's the most important. Yeah, amazing, isn't it? It's a freak, isn't it? Really, almost of production, rare production. So head to head, Chris from Bantha Skull, this Canadian Yoda here versus that Luke that I acquired.
No idea. As John said, I only care about the US figures, and it's not like USA. It's not one of those things. For me, it's about I'm trying to preserve. The reason why I collect carded is I'm trying to preserve the feeling of walking into the store and seeing it, which sadly is not part of the collecting experience anymore. it's an online experience. But for me, being from the literal, my first figures were 12 backs. It's all about that, preserving the experience of going to the store. So I only collect the US carded ones because those are the ones I see or used to see going into a store. So I don't really have a good feeling for the Canadian variations. But I do have to say, I do have one Canadian card in my collection. It's not vintage collection, but I have the Thal, the droid's Thal unpunched.
Wow.
On the Canadian card, which I actually don't like them because they have that generic picture. And I actually got this off of Heritage when they started, branching off from comics into action figures. And the only reason I got it is because I got in a lot with Uncle Gundy and Jord. And for the lot, I paid less for the lot than just that blaster would cost on the secondary market.
Wow.
As you know, this is the all black. Thal came with the all black Stormtrooper blaster. So I paid less for the lot than just that blaster would have cost on eBay. So that's my one Canadian.
How much of that stuff do you have, Chris? I've never really sort of known about your vintage stuff.
Not a lot. I wasn't into it for years, but I'm now into it. And Tim's kind of been the little devil on my shoulder.
Yeah, he held my hand as well when I took my first steps into that whole land. But I kind of said goodbye to it all. When I needed money, I sold it all, man. I got rid of everything.
I mean, my favorite thing in my collection is my AFA graded, Luke Stormtrooper loose.
Have a look at that.
Nice.
85 plus.
Oh, very nice.
On that. And then the thing that Tim pressured me into and it came back with a good grade is the Anakin coin.
Wow.
I don't remember pressurizing you about any of this stuff, Chris. I reckon you've having some serious nightmares or something.
No, because you'll remember because my wife Michelle, when this was on eBay, and Tim was saying it's actually a decent price. She said, I asked her, should I get it? And she goes, this is between you and Tim. So apparently,
Yeah,
Tim and I decide these purchases. So then, so now Tim's in the doghouse too because of these purchases. So he's probably not welcome here. Not that it's very convenient to pull on.
Well, if we're just going to very quickly talk about Canadian and vintage rather than vintage collection. I don't really show. Not many people have seen this really, but this is a Canadian 31 back. So this is the debut card for Bossk, and the US version of this is extremely rare. Like you can get 32 back, no problem. 31 back, which is before they added Yoda to the top, right? But this one's Canadian, so it's got the Canadian La Guerre des Étoiles, if that's how you say it. But yeah, that's the Canadian 31 back.
Wow.
So that's kind of a prized possession.
Are you going to go after the one in the Jeff Jacobs collection? I know there's a rare Bossk in there.
I don't think
what's he up to with his stuff?
I don't think he's got a 31 back in there though. I had a look.
So it's not a 31 back, but Action Figure Grayer just did a video on it, and there's one of there's one. I don't know if it's the 48 backs he said for the bounty hunters, they're very hard to come by, and one of them is in the set. It's a Bossk. He said himself. He said he wanted to get the Bossk.
Yeah, there is a Bossk in there. I'll have to have another look at which one it is. I mean, he's got probably every like me, because I focus on Bossk. I've got the only offer sticker I need now is the display arena. I think it's a 45 back A. Sorry, Nick, we're going off topic now.
No. This is great. Good to hear it.
So that's the only one that I now need for my personal like vintage Bossk carded collection.
This is all relative, fellas. Don't worry about bringing up this, vintage stuff.
But yeah, so that one when that one actually came up on Fourth Moon Toys, that Canadian card because I think they are in Canada. And somebody made me aware of it. One of my, people that watches the channel, they said, like, have you seen this? And I just snapped it up straight away because 31 backs Bosks are very, very hard to come by. But this one is more common than the American, the US card. We're talking thousands for a US card. Thousands. Yeah.
Wow. God.
I will never own one of those.
Well, you never know. You might.
No. They hardly ever. I think one came up on Deal or No Deal, and it was knackered. Like the bubble was, dented. The card was all over the place, and he still wanted thousands for it.
Yeah, you're very particular as well, and you've made me more so. I reckon the more I talk to you about stuff, like about quality of stuff, I think I let more things go by than you would ever. Maybe. I don't know. You know what I mean by that? I'm not as particular as, like, for example, like Han Solo I showed you before, you never would have touched it probably. I don't know. But I just nabbed it because it was the only time I'd ever seen it. And I don't know, I grew to like it as well. The way it'd been damaged.
I think it's one of those where, like, if you know that is probably the best you're going to be able to get for a long time, then just snap it up because you can always move it on and then...
Yeah.
And then
upgrade.
If something does come along, then upgrade it. But that's actually the first ever 31 back Canadian that I'd ever seen for sale. So it's not the best of it. Got a 75 at the graders UKG, so probably a 70 AFA. But I was happy with that, Anyway,
I'll just very quickly read this out because I've had this up for a while. But thank you again to Across 32. Hey friend, just wanted to pop in and contribute. We'll go back and watch the full thing later. Wishing you the bowest of years this Christmas. Yeah, I like that.
And Nick, there was another super chat earlier where there was a question. We never answered it.
Oh, you're joking?
No, you brought it up on screen, but we never.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right, man. Yeah,
we never went around and answered the question.
We didn't. Let's go back. It was Lara V, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go and find it now. If we can, I don't know how far back we can go on. Oh, there she is. So she said, what figures are you guys currently seeking out right now? Well, just very quickly, if you don't mind, just jumping into right away. Right off the back of what we were just saying, Tim, about plugging gaps. Recently, I bought myself a VC22 Revenge and Return with the black stickers on, like we discussed, the European one with the thing on the back, and then the black square sticker on the top right covering the US warnings or whatever. And they're both punched. So I'm not happy with them. They're just there just to get them. And I will hopefully upgrade them to unpunched versions in due course. So, I'm actively seeking anything like that right now, variants in 1.0. But we'll go round. And we've not heard from Miko for a while. So, John, tell us.
Oh. What am I looking for? I would love to get more Miscards. Tim, man, you're just taking them all.
I'm not.
But do you remember how triggered you made John Ruler last time we did the stream? You made him really angry with that one you showed. Do you remember it was really early in the stream and you were like, look what I got?
It was a surprise. Yeah, I think I had just gotten it then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just trying to think. Obviously, I'd love to get a couple more Miscards. I'd love one, the Boba Fett one we spoke about earlier. That's on the Snaggletooth card. There's also a Mandalorian. And which card is he on, Tim? There's Mando on a card as well. I think on the Boba Fett card. I could be wrong, but
nice.
I would love a couple of those. Other than that, yeah, I think I'm good.
Which Boba Fett? That would be not Morak.
I think it was the
the silver
one of the Mandalorians,
the brown one. Yeah.
Maybe.
Would that be right? I don't know. They're going to be in the same
Durasteel or someone.
Yeah,
might have been the Durasteel Mando. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, Chris. So, are you currently seeking anything now actively?
It's funny because the reason I brought this back up because I was reminded that there's something that's gnawing at me. That's a hole in my collection. That VC 151, I do not have a high grade sample, and I'm every single one that I own, every single one I found in store has like light veining right above the tab, which is very extremely common for TVC 2.0. So it has that veining there. So I would love to get a preferably graded version of that. And, for modern, I would want like a 9.0 or higher.
I'll see what I have, Chris. I might have a spare if you want.
Which figure, Chris? I'm sorry.
The Yavin Luke, which, despite the lack of ankles, is one of my favorite figures. Again, because for me, it's all about stuff. The stuff that gives me the most joy in the vintage collection is the stuff that I couldn't figure out why it wasn't in the vintage Kenner line. So Dr. Evazan, Grand Moff Tarkin, and that Luke. So as a kid, I'm like, well, why don't we have that Luke? Why do we have all these other Lukes? I want that Luke. So that one's really special to me because of that.
Oh God, I can feel a talk about the retro collection coming on now. But no, carry on, guy.
I love that wave that's coming up. I absolutely love that. Especially the Han Solo Stormtrooper, which I swear. What's that?
God help us! What card are they going to use? They better not use that one in the trash compactor.
I swear, in the early 90s, and I imagine this because it doesn't exist. I swear I saw a carded Lily Letty on a yellow pill Han Solo Stormtrooper, vintage Han Solo Stormtrooper in a comic shop in the early 90s. I swear I saw it. But it doesn't exist. So I don't know what, and I was active duty military at the time. So I wasn't on any, wacky substances or anything like that. I wasn't hallucinating.
Imagine it was.
I swear I saw it. For whatever
reason. Yeah. Amazing. So yeah, what card back do you think they're going to do that on? Oh, imagine they put it on that. I mean, did you like that card back they used? Now I can see Chris is shaking his head. Awful. What were they thinking? Terrible. And anyway, that's a whole other discussion. Mistakes like that, or were they forced to do that? Did they have no other choice?
Well, I do know that the LFL does, at times can micromanage what goes on the card. I think that's why we have the kind of grainy picture we do for the Bespin Escape Leia when, there's obviously a thousand, Johnny Mustache could wake up after 2 hours of sleep and whip a better card out in 2 seconds than what they did for that Bespin Escape Leia. So
I mean, I'm all for card backs that have got a little bit of gray and a bit of fuzz, but the thing about that is it's just the way he's cropped. He's so small, you can't really see much of him, and lighting's crap and stuff. So yeah, and the one they've used, on the top of the box, or sorry, not the top of the box, they were the reveal pictures, weren't they? They were nice photographs.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Have to wait and see. Anyway, Tim, what are you actively hunting for, my friend?
Nothing. Nothing.
212, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's just, those sort of long-standing things that I just, occasionally just remember that I wouldn't mind one in my collection, and I try and sort of have a quick look or whatever. But I've never actually seen a decent one. And it was actually Chris that told me about it, to be honest, maybe a year or so ago, 2 years ago, maybe. But no, it's just, if I see a miscard or whatever, then I'd like to add more of those to my collection. I do realize that there is like a bit of competition out there now for those.
There was a
Oh, look. Hello. Here he is. He's got another one. He's got another one.
Is this one you don't have?
How much do you have? My God, man. Look at all this stuff you have, man.
So
it's all great. Well,
so just a minute ago, John said, I'm sweeping up all the miscards, right? I have two.
And I have two.
And you have two. So there you go.
You only have two?
Well, I have the upside down one, but in terms of like miscards, I only have two.
I have a short story to share with you about a miscard that I could have acquired back in 2018. I think it was. I bought on eBay my very first Bastille Shan, and back then she was worth about £50 in the UK. And the person who I bought it from on eBay, it was a girl. She got confused. This is not because she was a girl that she made this mistake. We can clarify that. I'm not being sexist. She just sent me another item that she had also sold on eBay, and it was an upside down Gamorrean guard, or Gamorrean, because I remember seeing it on her listings. And when it arrived, I looked at it and I thought, my God, that's not Bastille Shan. You've sent me the wrong thing. But man, do I wish I'd kept hold of it and not sent it back to her, because what happened was she'd sent my Bastille Shan to the USA over to America, and it never came back. Or if it did, it came back destroyed. I can't remember which one of the two. So I did get my money back and everything. But man, do I wish I'd kept hold of that Gamorrean. It was in my house, in my hand. I should have just bloody kept it, man.
Jim, this got a 94.2. Too.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
right there to a 95. Come on, Kaz. Come on. I will say, shout out to my local toy shop. Brian, excuse me, got this out of a case he bought from EE, and he kept it aside for me, and he gave me too good of a deal.
Got fingers in pies there, man. Good for you.
So I don't want to scare you, Nick, but so I did notice this comment in the chat, which I've scrolled back to. It's from Clone Troop 211, and he says, I have a focus on VCO9 Boba Fett, and he currently has 46 different ones. So are you going to hunt all those down?
How is that possible? Chris, do you have any thoughts on that? Is that possible?
He's collecting different date stamps.
Oh, I see. Date stamps. Jesus.
Doesn't Volker have a pretty big Fett variant collection too?
I'm not going that deep into the rabbit hole looking at things like that, man. No way. But that's interesting. People do that, don't they? They've got like loads of variants of coding and stuff, like, then they sell it all on the Facebook and stuff.
I think there was a lot of issues with the figure, right? Like missing a mythosaur deco or emblem. Like there was the shoes, obviously the mispaint on the shoes. Then there was like all those little variants on the card back with the wording, collect them all. What was it? All that wording and stuff. Like I bet you, I didn't know there was that many though. Wow.
That's insane. Just one quick thing I want to show, which is obviously these things go without saying, but I've only just acquired them in my life, whereas people have had them for years now. But we can discuss this as well now, what you think ongoing the value of these things are. So I recently got the SDCC set, which obviously, as you know, comes with these two. And sadly, my Salacious has got damage on it. It's got this kind of veiny kind of, let me get the light on it, veiny crease at the top there. It's not that bad. It depends on how the light shines on it. I can't even get it. What the hell am I doing? It's really difficult to... It's because it's not mirror image that my brain can't deal with this. I can't do it. It's just here. It's just right there. But someone told me that that was an evaporation crease, whatever that means. Maybe it had moisture in it, and then when it evaporates, it draws out and warps. But I'm happy to report that that one there is really minty fresh, and that's the one that is probably now more sought after, given that now you've got two options. People don't have to struggle to get or feel less compelled to get the Salacious, given that you can just buy a Jabba and get that now. You know what I mean, fellas?
Yeah, but that Jabba doesn't count. It's a return.
Exactly. I know it is, Chris. Yeah,
it's a different figure in the bubble as well.
Yeah,
of course it is. I with you 100%. But
I personally feel that should make the older one even more collectible, because you'd want both like sitting next to each other.
Exactly. My one question for you lads was that I never get anything graded, but I'd be tempted to get these graded only because I don't have any method of storing them.
Yeah, you definitely want to get those graded.
Yeah, get them into a little case. It'd be nice, wouldn't it? And then I could put them on a little stand somewhere in that room. Yeah, great.
Well, if you want, I think GW Acrylics might do the cases for them.
Do they? All right.
They might do, but you know, like if you have got a vein on your Salacious, then that will be dinged. The score it gets will get dinged for that.
I just going to ask HCM007 in the comments. At least give us the score. If you're going to rub it in that you're watching the Army Navy game, give us a score. This is a big college football game here in the States.
We'll go on then.
Did you get yours graded, John? Your
Yeah, when I went to New York Comic-Con a few years ago,
wow, Navy's up. Wow.
I dropped them off and
yeah, nice.
Salacious.
Mine got 90s as well. Yeah, awesome.
Mine too.
And my mouse droid got a 90 plus.
Oh, nice.
This mouse droid here has got two little tiny little I don't know what you'd call them.
Sprues.
Oh,
Yeah.
Factory little, yeah.
Yeah, it looks
You'll
like
be fine. You'll be fine with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would you reckon that would grey that then?
Well, if it's mint, you'll get a 90.
All right, great.
I mean, if you get a 95 from UKG, then sweet as. But
And what would the Salacious go for with that vein?
they'll probably give that an 85.
Oh,
if you send that to AFA, it'll get an 80, I reckon, with the
Okay.
vein. That's just me sort of guessing. Like UKG are like, I would say that AFA are probably the most stringent out of all of them.
Yeah.
Although I have heard reports that they're slightly more relaxed than they used to be, but I can't speak to that because I've never personally sent anything graded.
But you've got to be.
UKG usually, like if something gets a 95 over here, then it would more than likely get a 90 at AFA, I would say.
Right. You've got to be careful with the Ultim. Sorry, Chris, I cut off you. Because that Admiral Akbar I got, the vintage Akbar, when it shot out of I sent it special delivery as well, and it shot out of the bubble. I don't know what the hell the postman was doing, but that was just momentum, wasn't it? I mean, if you sent something graded, you wouldn't have any control of protecting the bubble, would you? So it's just you're in the hands of careful postman.
With yellow bubbles, you've always got that risk, mate.
And they'll always get worse, won't they? If they're aging.
Yeah. And
even glue drying up pistols inside of it. Wow. So there you go. Interesting. Can you get stuff regraded? Someone will crack it out and then redo it. Would they do that?
Oh, yeah. All the time. Yeah.
Yeah. What's that you got there? Sorry, Chris.
There's another super chat that came in.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, let's get that up now.
Is that what you were going to say, Chris?
No, I was just going to say, just in general, I feel like AFA's, half a point stingier than the other grade, all the grading companies. CAS, and UKG.
Yeah, I think UKG and CS are fairly similar.
Yeah,
I
they seem
think,
to be
in terms of the way they do it.
Yeah, thank you to Eric. Is it Eric Gaia? Is that pronounced that there? And yeah, thank you very much for the very generous super chat. And question number one, the best Django. Well, I've got a series, Eric. I don't know if you know, it's called Top to Flop. It's like a take on Tim's, what do you call it, Tim? Worst to first or first to worst?
Worst to first, yeah.
Did a spin off and changed the name. But yeah, I didn't own it at the time of making the video, but I haven't opened it yet. I've acquired the new deluxe Django, which does look good, but I still haven't opened it, so I can't comment on that really. And yeah, any thoughts on that, fellas? Best Django?
Oh, it's the deluxe by far.
Yeah.
I will say from a carded perspective, I have one right here.
The retro collection one. I love that card.
I love this one here.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Offerless, unpunched.
Hang on. Sorry, Miko.
Yeah, I would just say offerless, unpunched is my favorite.
I can't even remember if mine's got the offer on it or not, actually.
Offerless, unpunched. Interesting. I'd have to look at mine as well. So. Most of the Attack of the Clones I thought didn't have anything in the bubble. No paperwork, nothing. They were all clean.
This one, I think was during the prototype fet. I could be wrong, but I just like the offer list. I don't know if it's.
I don't think any of them have got leaflets in. I'm sure I had a look around my.
I know I had one with the leaflet on this one because I sold it, and then that was kind of one thing I was mentioning where I was buying lots and cherry picking or keeping certain things, and I kind of wish I kept all the versions at the time.
And
guys, I do have to run.
Okay, Chris. Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, you did say you had to split. Yeah. Thank you so much. But I never said at the beginning, Chris, you've never been on my channel before, and it's an honor. And
thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you so much.
Big fan of your channel. Watch your videos all the time. Everybody should watch Nick's videos, and lots of fun. And wish you could have done more impressions because I always enjoy those too.
All right, man. Take care. Thank you.
Yeah, Chris, mate. Take it easy, buddy.
Thank you, brother.
Bye, Tim. Bye, John. Bye, Nick.
Cool. And then there were 3. Let's get on that screen there. There you go. And the second question was, did they ever make a BB-8 on a card besides the Droid Factory? No, never. No. And every single BB-8 they made, not that I want any BB-8s really, but you know what I mean? They didn't weather them, did they? They could have done with a bit of a wash on them. They're all clean, weren't they?
Someone mentioned the Andor droid. Although it wouldn't be something that would be like,
oh man, I should have bought one of them.
Worth the money, like in terms of, you know, when people talk about value of, like, you know, it's not like a figure with loads of deco on it or loads of articulation or anything like that.
And do you know why I didn't buy one, Tim? Because I thought
from a card point of view, TVC one would look amazing.
Wouldn't it? That's why I didn't buy it. I imagined they were going to do it in TVC, and they never did. I sat there thinking they're definitely going to bring that out, and they didn't.
Such a shame. I know I've talked to Tim about this, but I've watched the last 3 episodes of that show so many times recently. It's like,
no way out.
That's right. There's only one way out.
Yeah, I know. My name is Kino Loy. Whatever.
Kino.
Oh, damn! An impression. Chris is gone now.
The final episode of Andor is arguably the best thing Disney have done, I think.
I agree, man. Marva's speech, everyone getting amped up.
These bastards.
Yeah. The way just the way it's like, and also they go to places where you may not, you know, like, dare I say, the T word. You know, that kid like throws in the bomb, and you know, and it's almost, you know.
Yeah, it is. I love the way the stormtroopers are waiting, aren't they? They're just watching everything, and then open fire. They're just holding the line, aren't they? Just with the regular troopers, and then they bring in the stormtroopers. Then they can hit the target, man, for God's sake, which is good. They're not as goofy.
But I know you've said before, Nick, like you don't want to overwatch something because
I was about to mention that now.
And I'm completely with you on that.
Yeah.
But just talking about it now, I want to go.
I want to watch it now. I watched all of the Mandalorian 1 and 2 recently, and I was ready for Andor, but I'm still waiting for it to be nearer the time season 2 comes out.
Sometimes I just put it on in the background while I'm working on stuff, you know, so I'm not like, you know, totally paying attention, but man, those last few episodes, I can just
so good. So good.
Don't you get a little bit? And why well, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but I never understand it when they say it doesn't. Well, they say it doesn't feel like Star. Maybe they're talking about the tone of it, maybe, but it looks like Star Wars. It looks like that universe, as you'd expect things to be happening in that timeline. You know, Coruscant.
I think a lot of people, you know, expect the Force and lightsabers to be in Star Wars for it to feel like Star Wars. But although I'm not going to say I don't like that. Of course I do. But I love the prequels. Don't get me wrong. But I quite liked it when the Force and sort of Jedis and stuff were a bit more mysterious. Like I just liked old Ben. Like, you know, when they sort of giving you too much information about stuff, although it is cool and everything. And I do love Revenge of the Sith and stuff like that. So I don't mind it when it's just about the Empire, you know. I quite like that. I like the way they do different things. You know, talking about Skeleton Crew real quickly, you know, I'm enjoying that as well because it's different and it's not right at this moment. I haven't really done anything in there that's sort of like annoying me a bit or whatever. I think the acting's pretty good. I think the writing's pretty good. I think the production value of it's pretty good, which can't be said for other things that they've done. So I'm enjoying it, you know. And it's just from Star Wars from a different angle.
good to have stuff for kids, but a lot of the Bad Batch personally, I've not been able to stomach it, or I've had to sort of be like I've dragged myself to watching some stuff of that, like Rebels. I didn't really get into, but this is something that the kids could enjoy. But I think the parents or older guys will also. There's a hook there for them too, man. It's good. Are you watching it with your lad, Tim?
No, he hasn't had the time to sit down and watch
right.
it yet. No, but he.
I know he liked
do,
things like Book of Boba Fett, didn't he?
Or, yeah, he loved Book of Boba Fett. Yeah,
more.
And you're talking about watching Mandalorian there, and like I completely agree with you that season 3 is nowhere near as good as season 1 and 2. But when you were telling me that you were starting to watch it through again, I thought, you know what, I've got nothing else to watch. I'm going to start watching an episode a night before I go to bed or whatever. And I watched season 1, season 2, and season 3. And season 3, second or third time around, however many times, actually isn't as bad as I remember it being. It's all right, It's not.
Sometimes you want to watch a piece of Star Wars to get the atmosphere. Like Attack of the Clones isn't the best film, and it certainly isn't my favorite Star Wars film. But there's certain like scenes and feel and color tones that you appreciate, like the blue of what's it called now? Where the clones come from? Not Geonosis, the other
Camino.
Camino is very blue, isn't it? An oceany world, and then you've got the red tones of the desert of Geonosis, and then even Mace Windu's purple lightsaber, and the blue of Django. You know what I mean? It's like an artistic palette, isn't it? It's great.
And the Bad Batch you mentioned there, like it's one of them. It's like some of the episodes I really enjoyed, but there is quite a lot of filler in there as well. It's not one of those ones that maybe I would go back and watch the whole thing again, but there's certain episodes which I can still remember now and would go back and watch again, a bit like the Clone Wars, really.
What were you going to say, John Miko? It looked like you were going to
I was just going to say, like, going back to Andor and watching it a lot, like, I'm picking up on things. Well, first of all, like, the acting and writing is just it deserves to out of Star Wars, even out of Star Wars, it deserves to be like propped up as a pretty amazing show, regardless of what its genre is. But with that, you start picking up more and more things. Like I'll give a obscure example. There's what's her name and her partner there, the figure that everyone is like, why did they make her?
I know.
Vel Sartha and her partner is so indoctrinated in the rebellion that like she's like laser focused, and she's got a mission and she doesn't care about their.
I thought she was going to care about their
relationship.
She wasn't, was she? She was tough. I thought she was going to be the mamby-pamby.
Yeah, but there's just little things like that where you're like, whoa, I'm like picking up on things that I didn't really pick on before, or the relationship with Luthen, Senator, here there's an impression for you.
I know what you mean. He's great when he does that smile.
But his partner there, in their relationship and how she thinks he's slipping, and I mean, there's just so many dynamics.
Is it Clea? Is it?
Yeah, Clea.
Yeah, Clea.
Leia.
Not Leia, but it's Clea.
She looks like Leia, like Carrie Fisher-esque.
Yeah, she does. Yeah. But anyways,
yeah, she is great.
Brilliant dialogue though, Miko. Like that bit, the worst thing you could do is bore me, or whatever she says. She's so intimidating, isn't she? Dedra, brilliant.
Oh yeah,
ice cold, man. Great.
There's some good stuff, man.
That weird Dr. Tim. He's almost like someone you would have met at uni type thing, isn't he? That guy.
Yeah, what the with the that's torturing Bix.
Yeah, he's like sort of bumbling Brit, isn't he? Like they've got this sort of high pitched scream. Whatever. He's a bit sick, isn't he, man?
Yeah, but it would be nice to. I'll be honest. It would be nice to get more figures from that show. I'm at the point now where it's like, I don't care how toyetic it is. I'm a collector. There are certain things I want. I would love a B2 on a Star Wars card, like Tim was saying. I mean, I think that would just be pretty amazing, and I'd love a play set too. I saw a custom one. Yeah, a set of Ferrex would be pretty amazing. I saw like on Etsy, a person had Marva's one of her walls from her house where B2's charging station or whatever.
Yeah, cool, man.
With B2, and like I was like, oh my god, I want to print this out.
Yeah.
And print out B2. But anyways, like there's Luthen Speeder and him I would love to. Andor had a speeder as well. I mean, there's just the Fondor. There's some great things that would.
Isn't
would
it
make
great as well? Like,
fun.
someone said something before about less is more. And like when they're on that planet, the planet with the, what do they call that thing again? The eye.
The eye.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I know
It's an
that.
once every 3 years, whatever that planet was called.
Right.
Where the heist happened.
Aldani.
Aldani. Yeah, well
Yeah.
done, John. Well done. Yeah, just like the fact that when they were walking through the mountains and then everyone's like, stay down, and then it was just like a TIE fighter.
Yeah.
And they were just like petrified, and the sound of the TIE fighter, and it's just one TIE fighter, but it was more powerful than seeing 10,000 on bloody Exegol or whatever. You know what I mean?
Great point. Yeah.
Just
that's the thing that they did really well in Andor, is that they made it very known that everybody fears the Empire.
Yeah.
But like not just like saying it, you can actually feel it. They do.
It was that World War II fear, wasn't it, man?
And in original Star Wars, when people sort of talk about it, and obviously they witness it blowing up planets and stuff like that, but Andor, this is what I'm saying, and you've got the whole like partisan side of it, like you've got the rebels, but then you've got like the partisan terrorists,
extremists,
are they extreme? That's the thing. Like, I just think they've done that part of it so well.
Even in A New Hope, the depths of the evil of the Empire just built and built as
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
charred corpses. You realize, oh right, okay.
Yeah, and you feared Vader and you feared stormtroopers. Exactly. Yeah. Yes. Did what they did to Uncle Owen. And,
yeah.
But I can't. Sometimes I feel like that some of the Disney era stuff kind of misses that bit. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And that's when people say, "Oh, but Star Wars is for kids." Well, they had it back in the original one, So
I need to get my fire spray. I'm going to fly it inside this Rancor pit. Just some stuff just doesn't work, does it? You know what I mean? Like the whole thing. Some things in Book of Boba Fett were great, but some of it just didn't work, man. The speeder gang or whatever, things like that were just
the cyborg stuff.
Terrible design and execution.
I think July through November set it well up there. I think what people loved about Mando and what they loved about Star Wars is that it kind of appealed to everybody, where Andor really appeals to adults.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And his last comment there is, kids can watch Empire Strikes. Yeah, they got that part of it absolutely right originally. Kids and adults, and Andor is it has a lot more dialogue and things like that rather than maybe action scenes. There's not too many space scenes. You don't have lightsabers, all that kind of thing. So to keep a kid gripped. But this Star Wars is, for me, it's for us. Like, we grew up with Star Wars, and now, although I'm enjoying Skeleton Crew, I can still sit there and enjoy it because I can think to myself, oh, I would have even loved this even more when I was a kid. It's like the Goonies and E.T. or whatever, and the original Star Wars. But if I was to choose what I want as somebody watching it now, it's more of Andor, definitely.
Robbie Saunders just rewound my sound effect. I was going to say, as a Disney park fan, I love the thing with Skeleton Crew, like the subtle nods to things like Pirates of the Caribbean. Even that bit that maybe not many people notice, when you first go into that prison cell in episode 1, you can hear somebody going, which is what one of the pirates does on the ride. They're trying to get the dog over with the keys. Come here, hit him with the soup bone. Don't scare him. And they're just all talking about it and plotting to get the dog.
I did get a Pirates of the Caribbean vibe from it a little bit.
Yeah, it's very piratey.
Great, isn't it? I like it. Space pirate.
Not gonna lie, Brutus at first for me, I was like, I thought he would be a little more realistic at first.
I like the way he looks like original trilogy. His static face.
I think that's my issue with some of the series stuff with Aliens is it still has this like non-movie quality at times.
Imagine
And,
if he was CGI'd, he'd be rubbish, Brutus, wouldn't he? But he's
I know. I think he got better, and maybe it was just the original clip. But I feel like some of these shows, they don't do as good a job. Like even some of the Trandoshans, right? And
they're okay in Mando when they sort of attack him or whatever, aren't they? And they're in the cantina.
Yeah.
But the ones in Book of Boba Fett are a bit weird, aren't they? They've done something to them. They're not.
They look like the eyes are going to pop out. Like he was getting strangled or whatever. They look really goofy, like comedic.
I know what you mean, John. I know what you mean.
Yeah,
like I said this to you not long ago, Tim. Bossk scared me as a kid. I thought, wow, he looked like he was going to rip your head off. But then the ones in Book of Boba Fett look like he'd just knock him down with one punch type thing. You know what I mean?
Good.
I abide. Except that was the dog thing with the Kithiba creature who said that, wasn't it?
It was good to see some more Ishi Tibbs too,
goofy.
and all that stuff in Skeleton Crew, right?
Yeah, interesting.
So.
Yeah, well, we've gone a little bit over time. This has been a great stream, fellas. We've gone over by 10, but I've enjoyed that. Just talking about Star Wars there at the end there. But should we, I guess, call it a night? There were a few of the things I was going to mention. Just these Canadians here, John. You see the Canadian. What is he now? Rats Tyrell and Pit Droid. Yeah. And this Canadian. See this stuff. You never see this over here. This is a Canadian 83 VC 83.
Oh, I
quite like those actually. Like where the Blu-ray sticker. You can get those in Canadian, can't you? I quite like that.
And I like this. The fact that
that's cool.
Never before seen as a figure.
Yeah,
I miss those stickers, man.
Oh yeah.
Here, one more Canadian love for you.
Yeah. Let's have a look. Hang on. Yeah, that's the one you see, John.
I had to keep this one. I didn't sell this one either because I love Luke.
Yeah. When Chris first told me about this Ophilis Luke, that you've got in your hand there, I thought I already owned it, but I didn't actually own that one. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But a lot of people have got back to me on that and said, "Oh, I own that," but I said, "Please message me with a picture of it," and they haven't. That I've seen, but I think they might be confused. They think they have, but the sticker's been peeled off. It isn't genuine Ophilis. You know what I mean? You just don't know. But still, if you do have that, own it. Please do send me a message and prove it. Anyway, any final thoughts, fellas, before we sign off? And I would just thank everybody who is still here, all 83 of you, and anyone who has watched. And if you're watching on the rerun, thank you very much for watching. And it's been a pleasure. Thanks to Chris from Bantha Skull. He's gone now, obviously had to leave. John Miko, thank you very much. I've left links to everybody's channels and stuff in the description of this video. And I'll also post that article of Bantha Skulls as well in the description at a later date. And also, your Facebook group, John. Do you want to give us a plug for that? If everyone will know it anyway, but...
So Star Wars... the Vintage Collection Facebook group. Please, if you haven't already, if you're on Facebook, not on Facebook, come join us. It's a fun group. We recently got rid of sales posts. That's kind of been the big thing. Like, we decided no more sales posts. We're done with, for one, moderating that stuff. It just gets out of hand. And two, we just want content. There's plenty of other places to sell stuff.
Yeah, all right.
But anyways, there's people in there. Steve posts at times, and it's good place to learn about all these things. Corey, I'm going to give a shout out to Corey from the Facebook group. Corey Began, he's on IG. Began. He has done a tremendous amount of stuff in the group. Just talking about all the rarities and errors and stuff like that. He has, yeah. So.
I've used it before.
So thank you to him for all those contributions.
It's funny, John, whenever I'm mentioning your group, I never know what to call you because there's so many different Facebook groups for Vintage Collection or whatever. I always just say, the one that's over, they've got 20,000. But how many followers have you got on there now? Is it 25,000?
It's a little over 25.
Yeah. So the biggest one. But yeah, it's, as I say, it just gets a bit confusing. There's quite a few different ones, but you're just called the Vintage Collection. We've got ones that are like UK Vintage Collection or TVC Rebels and stuff like that. There's loads.
Yeah, I think we got the name Star Wars, the Vintage Collection. Very original.
Straightforward. Great stuff. And Tim, thanks as ever, man, for joining us. It's always great having you on, my
pleasure,
friend.
Mate. Pleasure, yeah. Of course, man. Thank you for inviting me along to show off our parts of our collection that we hold dear.
Cool, man. I'm going to try and get that graded maybe, and the other one, and look and see if I can get some miscards myself. Cool. All right, then. And thanks one final time to everybody who is watching live. And we will leave it there. Until next time, this has been Only One Kenobi, John Miko, Tim from Bossk's Bounty, and Chris from Bantha Skull. Good evening. And Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Bye-bye. End stream.